Life and Death in the Codex Borgia. Alien looking, aren't they? They're kind of like cartoons, though, when you get down and examine them. Hey, you know, this very alien civilization had the best astrology I've discovered so far, an amazing astrology. And lately I've been discovering that this was not something they had to do, but it came from an even more ancient civilization. Rollin Frost here. Program 1007 coming at you. Sun just went by Neptune yesterday, and I had a lot of epiphanies and discoveries. And one was a grand, huge pyramid in China, and turns out that there was piping in the lower parts of this pyramid that, you know, like you have in your bathroom in your kitchen. And it goes back 150,000 years. 150,000 years? Yeah, it turns out there are other people now saying humanity might be older. We could be 1,000,000 years old. You know? So there's been a lot of ancient people around doing things that are quite amazing. And one of the things they did was they developed the science of astrology, which was, you know, partly due to their religion too. More on that later. For now, let's get to your world and the sky mirror covering March 17th to March 27th, 10 days coming up. On March 23rd, there's a full moon at 3 Libra, and it's an eclipse of the moon. So some moon stuff could go away. There's a lot of squares going on right now which make for high energy. You know, here's Venus squaring Mars. Everybody feels romantic and sexy, but nothing ever works. It's overdone and there's obstacles. Here's Venus opposing Jupiter. You know, the poor girl's in trouble. She's arguing with the wise people and she won't follow advice. And she's overdoing it. And here's Venus squaring Saturn. My goodness. She acts up too much here. She's probably going to wind up in jail. She'll have to stay between the lines. Saturn is stationing. Yes, I'm getting into it. I realized that when I draw, you know, this chart, I have these lines. I had a red pencil, and I got to stay between these lines. See, and I suddenly I was back, you know, in this kindergarten and with coloring books, and you stay between the lines. Some people outlined. I remember they outlined the whole thing, you know, very carefully, and then they could fill in, and it wouldn't be so troublesome to stay between the lines. But that's Saturn. There's this limitation. And you know what? Now, everybody that drives a car is also staying between the lines, aren't you? Yeah. And now your life is on the line. You're driving. You better stay between those lines. That's Saturn. We do it all very well. I mean, you don't notice it, but you're driving, you know, 4 feet from somebody the opposite way. If you crash, you're dead. That's Saturn, man. They can stay on your side of the line. Well, more on that later. When is Saturn station? It's stationing on... Well, I'll get back to that shortly. March 25th at 16 degrees of Sag, squaring Jupiter at 16 Virgo. Yeah, so this is the forces of Saturn, the old boys, and they're blocking any liberal. These are conservatives blocking liberals. Anyway, what's it like for you? What's it like for you is it could get cold. As you come up to March 25th, it peaks out on March 25th and then goes down. I find the markets usually react 20 days before this. So the 3rd, 4th, 5th of March, you know, when Saturn starts to act up, people get conservative and they go out and they buy gold. Yeah. When Jupiter slows down, also 20 days the other side of this, they're still conservative before it all wears off. So usually you see the price of gold goes up as Saturn stops. People feel scared. When Jupiter stops, they get all optimistic. They sell their gold to go off and do new things. But this Saturn is squaring Jupiter, see? And so it's not going to give Jupiter a chance to balance it out. This is the judge. And he's not listening. He won't. He made a gag order on all the lawyers and everybody who might give him more information. And so he's blocking optimism and taking charge of pessimism. And you'll get more pessimistic. Now, you could possibly make some plans. You could be a manager, make a budget, make some long-term plans. Set some limits on yourself. I'm only going to eat, so many pies a week. I'm going to cut down on this and cut down with that. Save money. That's what it's about. Saturn's an expert. Cross of matter over the crescent of people, emotions, moons. So he'll save money, and not have so much food. That's why he usually is thin. Here's Scrooge. He's going to come at you on the 25th. Mark it on your calendar. Are you going to get organized or are you going to get depressed? Well, it's a tough one because Venus is in square. And so Saturn is also blocking Venus. Yes, stopping Venus about a week from where you're at. And she's not happy with that. It's too cold. I can't have fun. That we ran out of sugar. So it makes a T-square. You see here, Jupiter and Venus, the lesser benefic, greater benefic. Saturn stopping and saying, that's it for you guys. No more of that laughing and no more of that loving. And he's going to put a halt on it. I'll try and show you a little bit about where this might happen. Of course, this is snow and ice and cold, and he freezes things, he crystallizes things. So he crystallizes the water, you get ice. And, not in Hawaii, but, well, up on the mountain maybe. Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on, is Venus is in trouble. And Saturn is going to make difficulties for everybody and make you depressed and sad. And boo to Saturn, the great malefic. Malefic. So, what's it like day by day? Let's work our way up to it. Here's Thursday, your moon's still in Cancer. And it's not too bad, Thursday morning was difficult, but Thursday night, here's a nice trine to the sun. And Thursday night on the 17th, you're watching that show, you can make a plan. Start making your plans. When Saturn stops, and goes retrograde, you may have to go over them again. So this is a first plan. This is not the final plan. Saturn's like that. That's why he's a good manager. You go over and make a plan once, and then he stops, retrogrades, goes back over the plan again. Make sure it's right. Measure twice, cut once. And the third time he goes over, I've done it right. Pour the cement. It all freezes up. The job descriptions, the money, the plan, all freezes up, and you're stuck with it. So that's why he's so cautious. So this is the first time you make these plans. On Friday morning, the moon goes into Leo on the 18th. And you'll feel energized. The moon trines Mars. Let's get out and get some physical stuff done. I had a plan last night. Let's make it physical. It feels pretty good. Here on Saturday morning, early, this is 3-4 o'clock in the morning, there's a trine to Saturn. And this is the idea, the plan just pops right up. It falls in your lap. Gee, I have enough money and enough time, and I can plan this and do it little by little. That's what Saturn likes. Saturday morning, middle of the day Saturday, here's the trine to Uranus. And we got the technical stuff going too. Saturn and Uranus are in trine. So you make the plan first with the physical stuff and the limitations of time and money. Then you allow the genius to flow and find innovations and ideas on how to make it all happen in a very quick, simple way. Kind of a neat Saturday. Sunday, the moon's still in Leo. As you go till past breakfast, it shifts into Virgo. Things start to get tense. Sunday night, the moon squares Mars. Everybody's ticked off. Everybody's angry. There's just nothing going. It's not happy time. Whoa, what's that? The little tiny girl out in front, and she yells, and the dogs in the neighborhood bark, and that's Mars. Dogs are Mars. So there's a lot of barking dogs Sunday afternoon and pissed off people. And Venus, she's the one that may be screaming here Sunday night. She's getting stuck, you know, and this is the first time she knows it. And Mars could be kind of abusive, huh? This is Sunday night. I would not look at a young man, Venus. If you're a young girl, no. And it's confusing because here's an opposition to Neptune Monday morning. And how many drinks did I have? There's confusion. So Venus is kind of confused, huh? Yeah, she's very close to Neptune. And she could get drunk, she could get stoned, she could just get all idealistic and go off and want to do her own thing. Mars is there. Yeah, squaring her. She's over-energized, too much hero. So keep an eye on those young gals. Sunday night, Monday morning. Monday gets more difficult with the moon in the middle of Virgo. It's going by Jupiter, and everybody should be laughing and clowning and getting shots of wisdom. But Jupiter's squaring Saturn real close. So no sooner do you think about this bright new idea than you find out, no, the politicians won't listen, there's no money, that can't fly, it got frozen, and you're stuck. And the moon opposes Venus here. This stuff is kind of exact, you know. Astrology really is an exact science. You got to work at it a little bit, but it is. So here's the Jupiter line right here. And then comes the red line. The Saturn comes in just a little bit later. Now, Venus is in trouble here too. So this is not a good time Monday night. The moon does go by the north node and everybody feels nurturing. That's not till midnight or so. You know, and overdid it, got in trouble, and wind up apologizing and nurturing people Monday night. You're still thinking about Tuesday, and then in the afternoon after dinner, the moon shifts into Libra, and all the vibes change again. And it starts with difficulties with Mercury. It's hard to talk and communicate Tuesday night. What did you say? But Wednesday morning, Moon in Libra has a nice sextile to Mars. You can get out and do the physical things. Remember your plan? Yes. It seems like it gets thwarted a bit. There's a full moon. You know, Wednesday, middle of the day, it kind of covers the afternoon and part of the morning. But in the morning, too, there is a trine on the 24th to Saturn. You say, well, I didn't get as much done as I wanted, but I'm following the plan. Thing is, there's a Pluto square. Eek, a bug. You know, panicky, territoriality. It happens around breakfast time Thursday. Is that a bug in my eggs? Eek! You know, and I feel kind of alone all the way up until Thursday in the middle of the day when the moon opposes Uranus. And we don't like all these weird people around. Basically, you know, these full moons are nothing to fool with. Now this one sextiles Mars, so Mars is going to be kind of machoed out. But it's still a full moon. And people are going to be over-emotional, and the faces are so large, and there's lunacy afoot on Wednesday for most of the day. So the Thursday morning panic and feeling of aloneness, you know, coupled with that full moon means it's a rocky Wednesday and Thursday on the 23rd and the 24th. On the 25th, well, the moon goes into Scorpio, and all the vibes change again. It's in a water sign, a fixed water sign. Things mellow out as you go into Friday. Here, late Friday night, early Saturday mornings, a nice trine to Neptune. There's music, inspiration. The higher heart is coming out. And Venus is going to get a chance. Here's a sextile to Jupiter in the middle of Saturday, and a trine to Venus. And there is some love around, and some sweets, and some sex. And you can control it all. And Saturday is the day for a party. You got to calm down old Mars, you know. He's being left out a little bit, but he's been acting up lately anyway. So go for it Saturday. That's the time for fun and pleasure. No question. Sunday the 27th, moon still in Scorpio. Good day for rest. Yeah, because Monday, on the 28th, the moon's going by that Mars, and it's going to get, hot figuratively. People will be hot under the collar. Even though Saturn's there, when you get Mars too close to Saturn, Saturn just shuts off the heat. And towards the end of your next week, Saturn is stopping, and Mars is up to 7. Well, they're still, 9 degrees out, so not so bad. But Mars is going to come up there a week or two after that. And Saturn have a chance to really make it cold, huh? That's what he did. That's how Kepler started, He got this funky job at the observatory, but his boss, a famous astrologer, died in Denmark, and he had to suddenly put out a year's ephemeris with all the weather prognostications on it, and he didn't know what the hell, but he noticed that Mars came up and hit Saturn in the winter, and Saturn stopped, and he said, it's going to be really cold. And the last 2 weeks of this month, and later on in his letters, he said, I was amazed. My friend told me that at the very time, that happened, he knows a guy who came in from the storm and blew his nose, and his nose fell off. And it was frozen. It was so cold. And Kepler was convinced that astrology worked, at least on the weather, huh? By the way, when you crystallize water, you get snowflakes. And if you look at snowflakes, they're all built on the 60-degree sextiles and trines, and it's an awful lot like a chart. This is a water molecule most of your body's made up of. And when it makes a formation, it's a lot like an astrology chart, is it? Kind of a universal thing. Start there. 3, 6s, and 9s. Great. So I was pretty unconscious, and I was just kind of flowing along, and suddenly, I decided I'm going to go see the pyramids down near Mexico City, and I'm really interested in them because of a lot of the religious and the studies I've done, and so I'm going to go there on my birthday for my solar return. It's a really nice solar return. Now I was kind of dreaming about it a little bit, and then pop, 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 all these amazing things came in. So I went and did a chart, and here's the sun, 946, Neptune at 929 is right up at the top of the chart. And this thing went on, for a while. I just getting one piece of amazing knowledge after another. Yeah, it was startling. Here was the thing about, 150,000-year-old piping work found under a Chinese pyramid. And then other things came up I couldn't copy for you, but wow, what stuff. And here's where I'm going. Yeah. And a lot of this has to do, this is an amazing article. It has to do with not only the 3 stars on Orion's belt, which I have been watching all my life, it seems. From the time I was the smallest, I remember looking out my window, and there were those 3 stars, Orion's belt. And I noticed that one of them was a little off. How could you not notice that? You watch these guys. This one's just not quite in line. And I knew that this was the thing before some guys like Boval tried to take credit for it. And here's the Egyptian pyramids. And what were those guys doing back 5,000 years ago to build these huge things out there to mimic this? And there's actually other pyramids where Orion's hands and feet are and stuff. Yeah. So what's this? Here are the pyramids at Teotihuacan. This is where I'm going. I got to be here January 17th next year. I got to save some money. Now what are they? They're the 3 pyramids. They're the 3 stars in Orion's belt. And here's another one. When people really started looking, wow, here's another one. What's this about anyway? This is pyramids in China. The Yuan pyramids. And you look at the timing of them, and you know, they're all around 4,000 or 5,000 BC. Well, it was the age of Taurus, wasn't it? Well, what's going on here? These guys all invent this at the same time? Now, the chances are this is ancient knowledge that came long before these guys 5,000 years ago. Ancient knowledge that came from very, very wise ancestors, organic, studied, healthy, who went through lots of charts and tested lots of knowledge. And here's all we get left. I mean, if you left New York City, it wouldn't last like this. Now, in 200-300 years, it would be gone. Just a few things that tickle your fancy. You know, for years I've been giving you the time when the sun is directly overhead. You know, and now the big moon pyramid is at 19 degrees north 41. My house is at 19 degrees north 36. Very close to it. And in fact, if you look at the islands of Hawaii, the Pleiades was directly over these islands when the Hawaiians came here. The seven sisters. It happens I have the Pleiades rising. Yeah, I'm 29 Taurus rising. And all these guys that built this were doing stuff with the Pleiades and the sun. And an amazing thing cropped up, and that is when you look at the pyramid of the sun down in Teotihuacan, well, there's only one side of it that's really been restored. But what happens is when the sun goes by on an equinox, a shadow falls across that side and only lasts for 1 minute. So you remember I showed you how on the Egyptian pyramids there's a crease in each side. So on the equinox, each side flashes dark on this side and white on the other, and then bang, it goes over, white on the first, dark on the second, the shadow. And it gives you, 1 minute. Tells you 1 minute. These Mayan pyramids, well, they're not Mayan. We don't even know who built Teotihuacan. The Aztecs didn't know. Was it Olmecs? Was it scientists are scrambling to try to figure this out? Above all, they must figure out some kind of phony story, so they are superior to these people. Professor Anthony Aveni spent his whole life surveying stuff like this. Invented the science called archaeoastronomy. Trying to give all the credit to astronomers. Never once did he ever use the word astrology. At the very end of his career, he's quoted. He says, "We must face it. The reason for Mayan mathematics and astronomy was astrology." So here you have it right in front of your nose. This is the best kind of astrology. Of course, we don't understand it all. The science that these guys are practicing may have come from the age of Scorpio. That could be, 20,000 years ago, 30,000, 50,000. We're not sure. This, because, all we got are these things here, 4,000 or 5,000 years old. But, and this day that I'm telling you about as the sun went by Neptune, stuff's popping up all over where scientists and people are saying, maybe humanity's a lot older than we were told in school. Maybe. Okay, here's the Pyramid of the Moon. Now, just new information on that same day is it's a lot older than the Pyramid of the Sun, which is bigger. But the Pyramid of the Sun has that one reconstructed side that shows that thing that takes 1 minute. Wow. 1 minute, it gives a signal of exactly when the equinox happens. Amazing stuff. I can't wait to get there. Hope I have enough time to really look around. But turns out this place is the same latitude as our island's two big pyramids, Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. And and so we have natural pyramids. Not only do our islands mimic the Pleiades in the sky, the Seven Sisters, but at the latitude, which is when the sun comes to the no shadow place, it does that in Teotihuacan at the same time it does it right here on the Big Island. And we have the same kind of mountain, the biggest pyramid in the world. We have the biggest volcano in the world. And so we're here at a magical place. And the magical times are well set out by these ancient people. May 19th, July 25th, the sun comes to that place, Now it gets a little complicated. You go further and turns out they start tracking the Pleiades. And the Pleiades kind of, the whole star field moves 1 degree every 72 years. I got into trouble with the Hawaiians because they were watching the Pleiades along with the Mayans and everybody else. And when the Pleiades rose, they had a fire ceremony, and that's also the Mayans had a fire ceremony when the Pleiades rose, and on May 17th it did that right while the sun was at the top and the bottom, and this very special time happened. Maybe if I have the money, I'll be able to go back there on May 17th, 18th. At any rate, wow. Turns out I was ignorant all my life. What I learned in school was bull. I spent all that time and money looking at Greek and Roman stuff. I should have been learning Spanish. I'm going there, middle of January. Yes. Some people working about Triptych Enigma. Here, a man is a god in ruins, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Man is a god in the body of an animal, according to the ancient universal religion. Deep down, each one of us is an internal spirit. This spirit is only the real you. Yes, it's yourself. But it's actually a divine god and a deity with overreaching powers. The problem is we have amnesia, and we forgot. Yes. And you're not you don't have a soul, you are a soul. You have a body, says C.S. Lewis. So this universal thing had astrology and pyramids. Whoa, beautiful. 2,000 years of the age of Pisces covered it up. Here's the website, get my show. Here's my email, rollinfrost@yahoo.com. And drop me a line.